to Thursday's NC Web Dev Digital Marketing Series webinar. It's June 15th, 2 p.m. Let's get a drink, let everybody wait 1 minute to get in. We got a big one today. You may not see my face too much, which I guess is a good thing for me. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff that I prepared for you guys. So we got 34 seconds. Let everybody go in. Plus, we got some special offers for you today as well. And yeah, let's begin. It's got 12 slides, some shows, some stuff, data, numbers, everything. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. Welcome to NC Web Dev's crash course on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn crash course. Let's get on with it. Here we go. Glitch. Let's start with history of LinkedIn. LinkedIn originally started back in May 5th, 2003. Seems like a long time, doesn't it? 20 years. I was just thinking about something, about what happened 20 years ago. Well, it was right after Y2K anyway. But yeah, it works through websites and mobile apps. And it is a business and employment-focused social media platform, primarily used, and this is an important one because there's a description that they use a lot. It's primarily used for professional networking and career development. What that means is where it started as a job-seeking platform, where people used to put their CVs and people thought about it like, oh yeah, that's when I'm looking for a job, and when recruiters look for jobs for employees, potential candidates, they're gonna go to LinkedIn because it's got all the digitized CVs, basically you could call it. But today, this is called primarily for professional networking and career development. What that is LinkedIn has transformed over the years from being just a job site to business site. So that's important. It allows, but it still does allow job seekers to post their CVs, and you could still get recruited. And I do get a couple of recruiting emails. Oh, you should apply for this job. Looking at your LinkedIn profile, you've done this. Please send us your updated CV so that we can apply for a bunch of jobs and stuff. I get that all the time. Anyway, on June 16th, it was an important milestone where Microsoft acquired LinkedIn for $196 a share, a total value of $26.2 billion. So that's the history of behind LinkedIn, and let's get on. So in 2015, LinkedIn had more than 400 million members, and it was in over 200 countries and territories. The biggest competitors historically was Viadeo, which was I have a drench, it's supposed to be French, sorry for that, French startup, which ultimately was acquired by Le Figaro, which is the, of course, French newspaper. And they started using it as an engine, the Viadeo. They started using it as a job classified section, search engine and stuff. So, it was basically, that was the CV until it was a little back in the day. It did not happen exactly in 2015. But anyway, I forget. You can look up the history, but it doesn't matter. These are the competitors of LinkedIn. Second competitor was Ching. April 2019 reported 16 million members. So, and it's Societas Europea, abbreviated SC, is a public company registered in accordance with the corporate law of European Union. It's a Web 2.0 company. What that means, it's supposed to be a competitor on Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is a topic altogether. I'm just kind of like, don't want to get into that one, but I think I still think there's no such thing as Web 2.0. It's just Web 1.99 maybe, but definitely not 2.0, because in order for it to be Web 2.0, it would have to be a completely separate network, which it is not. So there's so much for Web 2.0. But anyway, they call it exchange crossing, whatever they call it. They call it Web 2.0 because just that's it's just a modern way of saying it. But it's just a competitor. Whereas LinkedIn, you could see now on the bottom, LinkedIn is a little bit different. LinkedIn has over 900 million users. Here, Crossing Exchange has only 16 million back in 2019, and they probably grew some now, but yeah, no, it's definitely not a great competitor. Anyway, as far as history of LinkedIn, you can see the development here. It was back in 2009. LinkedIn had probably where you're going to find Crossing right now is LinkedIn had 34 million members. And you can see the development right here. It's 34, 218, 364, 485. So it keeps steadily growing by about 80 million new users every day. It's got a high activity. And again, it's generally for professional networking. Now, the big update, what happened was after Microsoft took over, was about 10 million people have already tapped into something called the creator mode. Sort of like, I guess you can compare it with YouTube. However, the only difference with that is the creators don't get paid by LinkedIn. But what they do have is access to newsletter and LinkedIn Live, which is something we're doing right now. And creator analytics about your content's performance. You don't get that unless you become a creator. So that's one thing. I'm going to get into more detail with that, but you should always have your creator mode turned on so that you get the most out of your LinkedIn. You get special things like a little link, and again, I'll show that to you in the details. You get a little link to your website and stuff like that. But it's only if the creator mode is turned on. However, like you can see, it's only about 10 million people. It's got 900 plus million users, and only 10 million people create content. Really, I mean, or at least the content that they create kind of makes sense, and they're interested in developing and networking on LinkedIn. So, if you're looking to network, I think it's really key to have the creator mode turned on. I mean, it's just vital. That's just what it is. So yeah, here we go. But a few numbers. Networking versus employment. How has LinkedIn evolved? Again, back to the old question. Like I said, initially people thought it was all about employment. So for networking, if you're looking for business networking, 90% of Fortune 500 companies are leveraging LinkedIn, which goes same for employment. If you're looking for employment, again, if you have your LinkedIn set up properly, if you're active on it, your CV's working, and you're showing off your work, it's a showcase of your professional career. If you're looking to get hired with a network Fortune 500 company, that's where you got to be, LinkedIn. 180 million people use LinkedIn in the USA. That's a pretty good. I mean, LinkedIn is nothing compared to LinkedIn is nothing compared to Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. It's like half, maybe a little less. But it's 180 million people that are on it. I mean, 180 million people is your potential customer base, and it is the only one that's focused on business and business networking. So looking at that is, I mean, where else would you want to be? 37% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. So that's how that goes about. And then you have 73% of social media users feel LinkedIn offers the greatest privacy. I mean, you look at that, that's an astonishing number. Facebook is enjoying only 53% of trust of people that are using it. So, and LinkedIn's doing a pretty good job on automations and stuff like that. So next is 58 plus million companies are listed on LinkedIn overall. LinkedIn user base in U.S. access platform 22%. 22% of the users access LinkedIn daily. So that means you have 180 people in the US that are on there, right here. And 22% of those, which is 1836.6737%, let's say, of people use it every day. So 37% of 180 million, you figure it out. It's 4 times 18, let's say. And so that's 44 times 8 is 32. So that's 72 million. No, anyway, 7.2 million, I guess. I don't know. Whatever, 180, 22%, 10% is 1836. Yeah, so about 36 million, 36 million people use LinkedIn every day. So in the US, again, if you're attracting customers, if you're trying to network, if you're looking for businesses, that's where you're gonna go. 63% people on LinkedIn, out of 180 million, will reach out at least once a week. We're holding weekly webinars. That means our potential is 63% of our network will see it. Not even just the 180 million, but for example, I have like 1,200 followers. So chances are on a weekly webinar, I'm going to catch 63% of those at one point. I can touch up to. I mean, of course, there's an algorithm and stuff like that, but that's what that comes down to. 46% of the social media traffic visiting B2B company sites come from LinkedIn. That's an important one again. I mean, you have a business to business venture, let's say, and 46% of social media traffic visiting company sites come from LinkedIn. So if you're doing social media marketing and you're trying to attract businesses, half of your stuff will come from LinkedIn. So where should you start? Which platform should you pick as number one to work on and promote your business if you're doing B2B? Well, LinkedIn is the obvious choice. If you're looking to serve businesses, half of your traffic will come from LinkedIn. So, develop your LinkedIn first and just work with it. LinkedIn is key. Let's go to employment. 200 plus million jobs submitted on LinkedIn every month. If you're a job seeker, I'm not, but that's where you want to be looking. And again, to set up and optimize your LinkedIn profile, your CV is key. Now, today, you also have AI trying to get into that. LinkedIn is implementing that. But I don't know. AI has its faults. I mean, it's good. It'll give you ideas, but you still need to optimize it. So 58 plus million companies listed on LinkedIn. Like I said, again, that was for networking. But this is useful in employment as well. Well, if you're trying to have your CV seen, if you go to Indeed or all these other sites that provide job-seeking applications, CVs, and stuff, those are great. But 58 million companies are listed on LinkedIn alone. So if you're a job seeker, you get 58 million companies that you could pick from to try to find a job. So use LinkedIn. Next one. 51% of Americans with a college degree use LinkedIn. If you got a college degree, you're half using it. Again, if you're looking for employees, a big chunk of American college students are on LinkedIn. Again, 46% of social media traffic comes from LinkedIn. So if you're a job seeker, an employer, in a B2B, you're looking to hire, like you talk about Upwork, you're talking about Fiverr, 46% social media traffic comes from LinkedIn. So that's, again, beats out Fiverr or Upwork any day. Job seekers spend up to 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn. So again, if you want your job to be seen, or if you're looking for candidates, that's 30 minutes of every day job seekers invest into LinkedIn. And the searches every week, 50 million users search for jobs on LinkedIn every week. So if you have posted your job on LinkedIn, you're more likely to be seen. It's easier to find. There's a whole search algorithm to that. They can search you out. So the best way to connect to any of your potential clients, to potential candidates for your job, LinkedIn is the way to go. It is the biggest platform for professional networking and job seeking. Simple as that. Let's move on. Yes. Now, we get into this. Well, that was the introduction. That was the introduction to our LinkedIn and a little bit of history. It took us half of our time already. I mean, there's so much stuff with LinkedIn. There's no way I can cover everything in 30 minutes, but I'll just try to get as close to it as possible. Anyway, here's my personal profile. Number one thing, and I put the arrows in the most important stuff. Number one is the banner. Why? Because in today's world, we no longer live in a world where, you can only see pictures and stuff like that. I don't know if you remember 10, 15 years ago, it was very complicated to get text converted into, to get image text converted into regular documents and stuff. It's the OCRs, it was all sorts of stuff that you needed to use to convert it. Today, I mean, you just scan your phone and scan something with your phone, and it creates a pretty good Excel scan database. So it converts whatever picture you have, it converts it into data, and it doesn't really make too many mistakes. Well, in social media, what happens is the profile, people have all sorts of pictures on it and stuff, but the most important thing is the profile banner. The profile banner is indexed by the LinkedIn search engine. And if you have the text, it will recognize that text and it will put you higher. Not only if you don't have a profile, you're automatically getting points down. But if you have a profile with a lot of pictures and no text, you're not doing yourself any favor. You need to have text of the stuff, of the keywords that you're doing. I have top services, digital marketing, SEO, web design, web development, restaurant, e-commerce. This is the top products that we do. And this is the top products that I'm offering, top services. And it's got to be in the banner, because the banner is your storefront window. I mean, your whole profile is your storefront window, but the banner is the first thing. It's an advertisement banner. It's just like on the website. People sell spaces on the website. So if you want to get seen, you need to sell that top space, the banner on top of the website. That's the most expensive spot. Now, if you have the most expensive spot for free on LinkedIn and you don't put your keywords in it, you are hurting yourself. That's just key. Banner with some basic text. Grow your business with us, top services, blah, 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 info, and et cetera, everything else. Logos, images. Those are all great, but the banner and the words, the keywords in it is key for you to be found. Next, we have an arrow, and this is something about talks about, and these are hashtags. We all know how hashtags work. You can pick up to 5 here in the talks about, but that's again when you have the creator mode turned on. I'll get to that on the next slides. Then is what I was talking about right here is the ncwebdev.com link. That again, this spot is only open once you become a creator. And over here is providing services. That I believe you don't have to be a creator for, but that's important to have because you're offering some services. It's kind of like, this is kind of like, I would say, an Upwork or Fiverr kind of an area. So next, resources. And there you go. That's the next one right under that is you need to create your, you need to turn on your creator mode right there. And the way you do it is you click over here on show all 5 resources, and it says my network, and it says there's also saved. There's a bunch of other features that are there. So if you save some article, you're going to find it there. You can go back to it anytime. But it's kind of hidden, so I'm just letting you know this is in show resources. Then over here, once you start posting stuff, like over here you see it's the how are you getting the most when you're being LinkedIn, blah, 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 and that's the LinkedIn crash course. So it's right there. That's your featured. This you want to keep to 2. I have 3 because some of these are older. They should be updated, but I always put this webinar in my profile. Today there's going to be next week's webinar already posted on there. Today or tomorrow morning I'm going to switch that. But that's where you want to. That's where you're gonna. Again, this is like right at the top, like right below your basic info. Then it's your featured posts. So if you're trying to attract people to your events, or if you're trying to network, or whatever else, so this is the key place. This is a spot for updates. Kind of like I was talking about Google Business Profile last week, and how to optimize it. And Google Business Profile has the same thing on your Google Business Profile page, and it should be updated periodically. So, and this is the same thing. So you want to keep changing these accordingly. You want to have some, one or two steady ones, but you definitely want to be have your most updated stuff here, so people see it and people go visit you. About right there, the first arrow. That's pretty important, and the longer it is, the better. I could probably do a lot better job. But I did get the basics in. Again, it's the keywords. It's what you're doing. It's about you. It's kind of like your mission statement in your company. It's kind of like what you're about. So you're trying to reach out to your customers. You're trying to tell them. It's your introduction. So it's kind of like almost a cover letter. If you would, in a CV, you would attach a cover letter like, this is what I am, this is who I am. So that's kind of right here. That's the cover letter. So, the next one is your experience. That's just typical CV stuff. And you want to put, again, as much stuff as possible in that. All your experience that you have or that's relevant to what you're doing. There may be some short stints you may not be so proud of, so you may want to leave that out. But I mean, that's up to you. I mean, but it's the longer it is, the more experience you're showing, the better, And also, it does have the skills, which I'm going to get into later. But this is all the skills I'm using right here. For example, it's one of the features. So, because at the end of your profile, you're going to have skills. And when you put the skills, the companies all want to see where you use those skills. Oh, yeah, so I've used these skills for 1 year, those skills for 5 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, number 4, education. Pretty straightforward. And here we have the skills. And it's important. I'm also not that great at finding and always reaching out to customers. Oh, please, can you endorse me? I could have a lot more, but I didn't. And, again, like I said last week, Google Business Profile, 1 out of 6 usually will leave you the endorsements or, something. And so it's kind of, I'm flaky on that one, I will admit. But anyway, that's number 4. And next, publications. We do have a book that I wrote and we're offering. We send out to people. It's a great way to get contacts. It's a great way to lead collecting and stuff like that. So, and then you got languages. I speak both Czech and English. So I was born there. I grew up in New York. So that's how we get to these things. Now I live in Raleigh, so I can speak Southern as well. But I don't speak that way. Anyway, so that's the that's the basic business profile setup. I took you through most of the steps. There's a lot more. When you click on those sections, let me get back to that still. When you click on all these sections here, yeah, you're gonna get big forms, long forms that you have to fill out. There's a lot of fields. Something is hidden. Something is put. Sort of, it's an adventure sometimes. I would say that. LinkedIn is not the most user-friendly site, but that goes for everything because it's so complicated, and then you got to get into all these little different things, and then this name goes here, this goes here. But if you want the secondary telephone number or something, you got to click here, and then you check off this. So it takes some time to play around with it, but once you know what you're doing, you kind of go through the whole thing, and no, it's not that difficult. Anyway, let's get to networking rules. So, the basic stuff. Once you have everything set up, how do you network? Well, the basic step number 1 in networking is right here. The limit is 100 networking invites a week. That's your limit. So basically what I do is I send out messages, introductory messages. So you go to the search area, and I search out whether it's CEOs, whether it's restaurant owners, whether it's business owners. So you kind of like get your query set up, get the filters in there, and then you want to get about 1,000 people or so on the page, and then you send them connection requests. If somebody does not send me a message with the connection request, I just ignore it generally, unless it's like, but people that know what they're doing they'll always send you a message. Messages are important. So, and the best way to do it is to send out 20 Monday through Friday. That way you fill up your whole calendar. And best chances to connecting is second level. What that means is on LinkedIn, you have level 1, level 2, and level 3 connections. Level 1 is people you're connected with. Level 2 is who you're not connected with, but your network is connected with them. Level 3 is that you're not connected to them and nobody in your network is connected to them. So that's the LinkedIn connection rules of how to do it, or whatever. I mean, how you get in it, how you get into it. But the best chances are with second level. If you're just reaching out to third level, your percentages are going to go way down. If I do an intensive, it depends on days and weeks and stuff, but generally I get about 30% acceptance rate on the second level. And there's another thing about that. It's the number of networks you have, but I'll get into that again on network size. But yeah, you send out a message, and the message is important. You send out 100 messages a week, and it's important because you introduce yourself, you put the name of the person you're contacting, and my message, which most of you got at one point or another, and I do change it here and there, but it says, hello, John, for example. I help businesses online by increasing their website traffic, making their products and services more accessible. I use WordPress, search engine tweaks, and improving social media. Is a high quality digital footprint important to your business? Would it make sense for us to connect? Well, and then that's one thing about that is when you send out a message like this, always end it with a question, because it's not automatic that people are interested in your services. So ask them, is it okay for us to connect? That way you turn cold leads into warm leads, and that way you're not so intrusive, and you don't offend people because you ask them. Listen, I mean, it's polite. It's just can we connect? It's, you may not want to be friends with everybody. You may not want to connect with everybody. And in some cases, people are not interested in connecting with you. So you may not be relevant. So, and the important thing about invites is after 4 weeks, you go into your, you manage your network and sending invites, and then you go into that list, and all the way at the end, sometimes on the page before last, there's remove 1 month unanswered requests. So you got to go through, and let's say I do that every Monday. So that's basically 400 requests and 30%, 500 requests, and no, 100 requests. Sorry, I'm like, no, it's 20 a day for the past week. So 5 weeks back, we'll say 1 month since you sent that. So it's 1 week. Sent, it always has a message. You sent 1 week ago, sent 2 weeks ago, sent 3 weeks ago, sent 4 weeks ago, send 1 month ago, or month and more. So you always go and delete that, because you don't want to be hanging in there, and LinkedIn will not consider you to be such a great networker if you don't care about your invites and who you're connecting with. So you don't want to have, there's no limit, but you're not going to be ranked well because you don't delete those invites. That's just simple as that. So you go back, and every Monday I delete 70 people that I sent invites to from 5 weeks ago. Networking, again, on LinkedIn, is you could do live webinars, something I'm doing now, but you always have to use a third-party software. I use Restream, there's StreamYard, there's a bunch of others that are approved. So like 10 to 12 of them that LinkedIn allows you to use. And there are several ways when you're setting up the webinars how you can organize and collect personal data. You can ask people to send you something like an email. You can send them to requests. And even LinkedIn has a form. If you want to do it, you have to, again, to do the live webinars, you need to be in creator mode. And then your web page also has to have terms and conditions if you're trying to collect for webinar registrations. We're doing it without registration, sending emails. Tried that a couple of times. It's kind of, it works, but you need to do the high numbers. And as we've been building it up over the last year. I mean, I started a year ago with 200 connections overall, because I was not really building up my um, LinkedIn network, and in about a year, I'm at over 1,200, and I have not been sending out that many requests lately, but I still get 5 new connections, 10 new connections every week. Why? Well, because I didn't show that, but in the connections on LinkedIn, I'm just thinking like there's so much stuff, and we're already in a half hour, so it's a long one. I'm sorry about that, but like I said, there's a lot to cover. Anyway, so I've been now not sending as many invites, but I still get 5 to 10 because people reach out to me. And the important thing on LinkedIn is to get to 500 plus connections. Any profile with under 500 connections does not get much, does not have high success in to new connections, etc., etc., etc. People don't respect you as much. And now I got to 500 plus, so it started. I think when I first started doing even the second, third level, because when you have only 100 connections, you got to start even third level, and so you get connected, but it takes a while. So, kind of like everything else, back in May of 2022, I was 2022, basically 12, 13 months ago. I started just connecting, and I was like, damn, this sucks. I have 10% success rate. I was doing it manually and stuff like that. I was like, I only have a 10% success rate. That was a 15. And once I hit the 500, I got 20 to 25. On best weeks now with over 1,000, 1,200 followers and stuff like that, people look at your profile. Okay, well, he's serious. So now I could do up to 40% success on connections rate. There's a way to increase that, but you have to first communicate with people. It's kind of hard to you would have to spend 6 to 8 hours on LinkedIn every day to get up to like 80, 90% connection success rate on those messages and the invites. So I'm sticking with my 30% on the average. So, 100 a week, 30%, you get 30 new connections, business leads, and when you consider how many connections they have, then basically you are second level to all of their connections, or their connections are second level to you. So then again, it's going to be that higher success rate on connecting. So that's for that. And that's how you get more connections. Now, network size. Connection limit is 30,000. You cannot get more than 30,000 connections. So, but anything over 1,000, like I said, is pretty safe. Followers are unlimited. I'll get it. You see that on the bottom. Messages are variable, 100%. How many people can you send messages to a week in your network? I'm talking about, in a day. It's 100 messages. You could reach out to about 100 people on LinkedIn every single day. Some of the rules also are you need to be, well, I'm going to get into that in the next thing. But anyways, 100. I did when I was with this webinars and stuff, and I try to reach out to the people. That's one advantage of the webinars is you could contact those, because you can't send messages to people that are not connected with you, like the third level connections. You can't send messages to them. You would have to use InMail. But if they attend your webinar, if they're part of the group that you're in, it's okay to send them messages. So you can send out to, safe is 100, but if you're really active on LinkedIn, like we were doing reach outs, we were sending messages, I think like 200 messages a day we were able to do. And LinkedIn didn't slow us down. They're going to block it. They're just going to tell you, like, listen, you just slow down. So most followers on LinkedIn, Bill Gates, 35 million, the owner of Microsoft, or indirect owner now, or ex-owner of Microsoft, has 35 billion followers. Gee, surprise, surprise. The numbers kind of vary on that, but anyway, I was looking at a couple of resources, but number 2 is Richard Branson with 20 million followers. Richard Branson was one of the first people on LinkedIn, started really exploiting it back in early 2000s and ran with it, and that's how he got to 20 million. And the number one organization on LinkedIn, guess what? It's Google with 23 million followers. So followers are unlimited. LinkedIn network size connections is 30,000. Well, LinkedIn wants to be very personal. That's why they're pretty hard on automation as well. And they want to keep everything straightforward and personal. So the thing is can you really maintain a network of 30,000 connections? You can have a lot of connections, but 30,000 is a lot. Like Facebook has that limit for 5,000 friends. So connections is the same thing, except it's professional, so they let you do more. but 30,000 is more than plenty. So, you know, but don't waste them that much. But yeah, it's 30,000 connections is big business. And lastly, on the networking rules, it's a social network. So make sure to join groups, join live events, engage with posts, which is important. Engage with the post, engage with people that you're connected with, because if you don't engage, again, the algorithm is going to say, well, you know, he's not engaging, he's not really commenting, he's not doing anything. So your posts are not going to reach that many people, and your network will not see it. So that's that. And send messages to people. Always just, you know, say hello, you know, with a long time, you know, we have been connected, and so follow-up messages, anything changes, stuff. We're doing that through email with a bunch of people now, even over phone calls sometimes. So we try to reach out and be in contact with our network and just interact online and offline as well. You know, even the participants of the webinars, you're more than likely to get a follow-up message. So, you know, it's a social network. Next. And we have reached the end of our webinar, and so we have special offers. We started doing one-on-one LinkedIn trainings, 2 hours. You know, I covered a half hour. I couldn't even cover everything in a half hour now. A 2-hour session to personalize and optimize your LinkedIn profile and networking setup. Documents such as CV or design specifics, guidelines, and graphics ideas sent ahead of time, preferred, because that way when we sit down for the 2 hours, we could set everything up. We'll set up your banner, we'll do this, but if we get ideas and kind of prep some stuff, it's always good. So, you know, that price is $249. It could be online or offline. It could be offline person. It could be in person, or it could be online through Zoom, through any, you know, anything. Even Skype. I know people haven't heard that word for a while, but Skype still works. So I have a Skype account. I haven't used it in years, but I have it. Anyway, so it's, you know, Google Hangouts and Microsoft Teams and whatever else. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, and even, you know, everybody does some kind of a messaging video. It could be through WhatsApp. It could be through Signal. Anything. But anyway, so this is a $249, about 2-hour session. It takes a little bit more, maybe sometimes, but so that's for $249. There's a link on our website. Then we also offer group LinkedIn training, which is basically for corporations, for companies, for employees, like real estate, like somebody, you know, somebody that wants to do it. We're just doing it with an insurance company here in Raleigh. Set up all their profiles, give them sort of a unified look on, you know, kind of coherent, so that you could tell. So everybody has the same profile banner, but they're personalized with name. Then they put some different images, but the general structure is the same. So if you're trying to get like a corporate, you know, you have branding kits in corporations, so the same thing should apply to LinkedIn. You should just have similar profiles, similar colors, and then, you know, personalize other stuff. But you want to have your digital footprint right. So this is a LinkedIn training course, and teach you and customize your the banners are the most important, and also train you how to do the reach out messages, help you set up the message, which one's the right one, which one would work the best for you, and so on and so on. So that's something we're offering. It's about an all morning course, and it's up to 6 people, and it's $499 with some, again, preparation work on our end. And we come in, and again, it could be done through a group Zoom, and we'll work on each one of those profiles individually. So, you know, that's why it's only 6 people, because if it's more than 6, you just would not be able to be effective in the 4 hours. And lastly, we have a special web design special discount. And if you reach out to us by tomorrow, then as a thank you for your participation in today's event, you could get our Lightning Web Design, which is on our website again, and it's the description of it whole. I'm not going to get into the details, but it's a $6,000 package, and if you reach out to us and we agree on getting your website up and running with all the ins and outs and all the SEO and all the special settings and tweaks to be seen, then you can get that package at $3,999. Regular price $6,000, so you get $2,000 off. So make sure you take advantage of that. Looking forward to talking to you, and thank you for attending today. You can contact us at those information, addresses, and email, telephone number, everything. And then see you next week at the Cybersecurity Guide. I'm going to be talking about some basics of cybersecurity, of things that you should do, things you should not, how to protect your website and how to protect your corporate data, what to watch out for, email scams, and how to protect your personal data online, what to do, what to click, what not to click, and how to even the different rules for protecting your customers' data and protecting yourself. So that's going to be next week's webinar, a little break from the social media and web design stuff, although there's going to be some web design on there. So again, thank you.